Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Your Business in Digital. I am Tamara Monlouis, founder of Monovan Digital Marketing Solutions, and super excited to be here with you each and every Monday and Wednesday as we talk to you about how do you translate your business into digital. We understand that digital can be daunting, but here's what we've done for you. We pulled together the ideal team, the full business. We have here the CFO, we have someone who is a sales guru, and of course, we have our operations strategists, as well as digital marketing, all pulled together to help you really pull together your business in digital and translate what you're doing offline successfully into digital, really track the numbers and track to the goals. Now, today we are talking about the holiday season, right? Because we're at that point, we're in Q4, and we understand this is an important time. This is where many businesses actually make up their entire goal for the year, right? Whatever that business goal was, this is sometimes that final grand finale. So we want to make sure that we're giving you 7 amazing points to get to that place. So I'm going to pass it over to my team. Super excited to be here with you guys. Oh my goodness. Of course, we're all mixed up. Usually we're in different places. So I'm going to go in a little bit of a different order today because I like to follow a pattern. So Michelle Gordon, introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are. And then Andrew, pass it off to you. Then to you, Michael. Michael, you're in the right spot.
I think we just wanted to mess with you this morning, Tamara. Good morning. Happy Monday, all. I am Michelle Gordon with Lanyap Digital. I'm here to help you to relieve your sales and your pricing pain. Here to help you to find your revenue blind spots, discover how you differentiate your business from the pack, and to help you to be a consistent, sustainable business and be around for the long haul. So thank you. Welcome into the room and happy Monday morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our show today. I am Andrea Ragu, and I am the virtual CFO for your business. I help you navigate your financial journey and make better financial decisions for the profitability and sustainability of your business.
And good morning, everyone. I am Michael Wilshire, Director of Business Development and Sales at Monovan Digital. Thanks for joining us again this morning for Your Business in Digital as we're talking holiday marketing.
All righty. Well, the gang is all here. The team is all here. I'm always excited to be with you guys because it is the perfect mix of really, truly kumbaya, right? This is how we get all the right players together to make these decisions. I'm in marketing and I have someone in finance working with me to understand my strategies. And that's really helpful because they get to really understand the big picture. We have sales here who's kind of guiding and moving through the process because they're really connected to the customer. And then we have the operations team that's telling us, hey, these are the steps that we need to take to get things done. And this is the perfect marriage of any business. So thank you for the kumbaya, guys. So today we are talking about, right, kumbaya. Today we are talking about the holiday season. And I know for a lot of businesses, this is an important time, right? This is the time where it gets down to crunch time. This is where they make the money, right? Many businesses are like, all right, cool. What do I need to do? So we need to understand a lot of different things. So we have 7 amazing points today that we're going to talk through. And Andrew, we're going to kick it off to you, starting with how are you tracking towards your 2022 business goals? So let's talk a little bit about that as we really start looking at the holiday season. The first point being, how are you tracking towards your 2020 goal? How should a business be looking at that?
All right. So with this point here of how are you tracking, what you want to understand is we are in Q4, right? So we're coming to the end of the year. Where are you in relation to the goal? So in Q4, you are practically 75% of the year is gone already. Are you 75% of your goal? Is your goal, first of all, is your goal a linear relationship to the year, right? Did you have, I wanted to make 100,000 and I've split that up 25, 25, 25? Or is your business seasonal, which means that as much as we're 25% left in the year, is it that you have 50% of your goal left because your product is a seasonal product? So you want to understand we're 75% of the year gone. Where are we in relation to the goal? And is that where you were meant to be? So if it is your product was seasonal, then it meant that maybe you were supposed to track half of the goal or 25% of the goal because the majority of your revenue comes in the Q4. So you want to understand, first of all, how are you tracking towards that goal that you set out? We're 3/4 of the year ago and we only have 1/4 left. How much work do you have left to do? And are you on target?
All right. I'm sure everybody else has something to add to that. That was really good because we really want to understand that, right? And I don't know if as businesses we're kind of taking that step back because sometimes we're probably looking at it kind of linear, right? I'm doing 25% in Q1, doing 25% in Q2, and that's just not how it works out at times. And I think there's so many factors because if you're in a space of that your goal, you're probably only 25% to your goal and you cannot make up that revenue in Q4, then what are some of the things that need to be considered, right? And I know it's about sometimes maybe changing that goal and making that assessment to say, hey, this is the pivot that we have to make at this point in time. Yeah.
Definitely. So at this point in time, you want to assess the reality of your situation. It's really about assessing your reality, right? And I want to emphasize your reality, right? You always want to look at what is right for your business. Everybody else have a different goal, even if they're in the same industry as you, even if they're selling the same product as you. What is your reality pertaining to your business? So if it is that you're ahead of your goal, then that's great. What are the things that you're going to put in place to ensure that you continue? You've already passed the goal. So at this point, everything now is gravy, right? So you want to know how am I going to continue to keep that upward momentum? If it is you're not and you're behind the 8 ball, then understand what is it my reality that I could still achieve it? Or is my reality is such that, okay, maybe I need to dial it back a bit and maybe I need to adjust my goal or adjust the activities that I am doing, because if my goal is still achievable, maybe it's still achievable with some tweaks. If it is not achievable, and that's okay, but the point is come to that reality and come to your truth and then figure out, okay, what is the steps that I need to take?
Agreed 100%. This year has been rough for a lot of people, right? So don't feel any way or don't feel any shame if you have to reassess your goal and understand how you can actually move the business forward. So, Andrea, thank you so much for that. I really love those points. Michael, Michelle, did you guys want to add anything to that? I'm sure you guys are back there like, we got stuff to say.
Such an interesting point, about that industry cycle, right? Because if you are in that cyclical industry and this holiday season is your period, then you should have been preparing from, 3 months ahead of now, right? So that's, as she's been saying, that's going to affect the activities that you're doing. How are you compiling that content to have you running smooth through the holiday season, right? How much of that content, and we're going to get into some of the other things. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but definitely tracking toward those goals also means, how have I done with my activities? How efficient have I been at, operating and keeping my digital marketing going forward, right? So definitely good points. Good start to this morning, this Monday morning, just how are you tracking? And Tamara, I love that you touched on that. It is what it is, right? We are in, let's call it just uncertain, because nobody wants to say the word. So we're in uncertain economic times. We're watching to see what the holiday spending is looking like. So far, the indicators are still positive. So I'm here for it. We're here for it, and we're here to help you.
I think one of the things that we should consider is that Black Friday is called Black Friday for a reason, as you said, Tamara. Many companies move from the red to the black in the fourth quarter, right at Thanksgiving, as we're going into the holiday season, which is an indication that many businesses are indeed seasonal. We're not linear, as Andrea said, we are not 25, 25, 25, 25 throughout the year, and nor is our client buying habits in that manner as well. One of the things that we should be thinking about, and as we go through quarter to quarter, if you're calendar quarter or fiscal quarter, is the buying season. When do your clients buy versus what your goals are? Are they buying 2 or 3 weeks out? Are they thinking about buying for the holiday season 6 months out? I have a friend who purchases her Christmas cards in August. baffles my mind. But she purchases her, she begins getting herself together in August. And so those are things that we should be thinking about as in our business as we are talking about our look, not only look back, but look forward and reanalyzing what are the sales patterns, what are buying habits of the clients for specific products in our family so that we're prepped for it and may adjust accordingly, because those buying habits coming up in this quarter may be very, very different from what we've been experiencing in our past when we do the look back. So I think it's really important conversation that we're having now, and what a way to start off our week, right?
What a way to start off our week. You're 100% right. So yeah, we're talking about the holiday season. And the first point was, how are you tracking towards your business goal? So definitely want to move into point number 2. And Michelle, I want you to jump in here and talk a little bit about identifying your successes or opportunities. Because, sometimes as we're going through the business, we kind of definitely see some things that are working, some opportunities show up. And how does a business really jump in and look at those things to know that, hey, I can leverage this for Q4? Because we really need to be in that space of knowing what potential opportunities are out there for us. Go for it.
Well, I'm glad that you said what are our successes and our opportunities, because there are a couple of things. There's value in the review. We I think last call or the prior one. So if you haven't watched it, go back and look and watch them again. These calls stand alone, but you are also able to build upon them. There's value in the information on what we've had in the immediate past. What did we book the number of products that we said that we were going to book? Did the clients go to the places within the website or in our social places that we wanted them to go? Did something move a little faster along the line than we expected it to move? Or vice versa? Did something not quite hit the way we anticipated? Was our cart abandonment? Did someone put information or a product into the cart and not purchase? Those are things that we may learn from to apply a different practice moving forward, or to ride the wave of whether or not that worked well. Well, we were speaking of jewelry in the past. We were looking to sell bundles of earrings, necklaces, and rings. Did this sell enormously well? And if so, how do I continue on that path to keep moving forward and bringing that revenue into the top line and also flowing that into the bottom line? Did I get the right customers coming through that I anticipated? Is it time for me to start turning something on for buying season for men? Because we're walking into holiday season, they're looking to purchase something for women, the women in their lives. How are we catering to that? And did we have that luxury in the past? And do we need to apply that moving forward? Or is that now an opportunity for us because it's a new market, a new buying consumer that we're looking to gain traction from, because that's going to help us to meet our overall goal that we have set for a specific month or for the moving quarter that we have ahead of us in the future.
Ooh, Andrea, I see you shaking your head, because now I'm like, well, we're tracking towards our goal. And now we kind of move into point 2, where it's like, well, identifying successes and opportunities. What did you hear there as the finance person that made your eyes were twinkling? I saw it.
Oh my God. So definitely what I'm hearing there is, okay, what is a change in financial strategy that needs to happen in order for us to continue to ride the wave, as she said, right? You've reviewed the information, you have the raw data that is saying, this is what happened, this is what did not happen. And you're coming to finance now to say, well, I think we need a change in strategy. And you're coming to, so with that now, I'm thinking, okay, so what does that change in strategy mean for our finance situation from 2 perspectives? Do we need to spend more money because you're saying, well, okay, this didn't quite work, so we need to try something else? Or 2, does it mean from a revenue standpoint, now you're telling me I'm not going to get as much as projected because the thing that we thought was going to work is not working? So we need to dial it back and say, as we talked about in point 1, are you coming to me now to say, I think we should change the goal, I think that projection is not realistic, so then I now have to go back and say, okay, so I'm not going to get as much cash as I thought I was going to get from a revenue perspective? And 2, if you're saying, well, okay, let's, make some modifications. Let's ride this wave. This is an opportunity. Does the opportunity cost me something? Does the opportunity cost me something? Because it could be great. But if you're coming to me and say, finance, this is a really good thing and we need to hit it, things are going. My thing is, does it cost me something?
Well, and as the sales and pricing person, I'm going to say we're rolling into the fourth quarter. It is the biggest buying season. The competitive landscape is big, and we'd better be there and be visible with the right strategy, focused on the right consumer based upon our learnings from the past and what we know of what the buying public is looking for in the future. But if we expect for something to move, then we need to be on the shelf to be purchased. And we need to be in the client's line of vision in order for them to see us, to buy us. So yes, if you are not having these very interesting conversations with your finance person, you should be, because yes, it will require you to possibly spend money in places that you may not have been before, or to increase the spend for you to gain greater visibility, because the landscape is so much more competitive in this season. We are all getting the messages now. We experienced something last week where Amazon did something unusual in their space. They came forward anticipating the buying community is going to do something different based upon economic trends. Therefore, they came forward with 2 different days for visibility. So big boxes, big companies are doing it. That is a signal to small businesses that there is something different that needs to be done, and the market is indicating the economic conditions are different, and we need to be succinct and be out there with a larger buying season, a longer buying season than we have typically anticipated during the holiday season. So yes, Andrew, we're looking to spend some money in the appropriate places to get the budget revenue that we want in for the goal that we've designated for the fourth quarter.
Well, Michelle, you know what? You're doing such a great job. I'm going to just have you roll into point number 3. What are your offers and what do you want to sell for Q4? Let's just roll into it.
Now, this is really important. I'm big on, what's the end goal that we're trying to achieve? What is the why for our buying community that we want to give them a reason to walk into our space and to actually click on our message, read the email marketing message that we're sending to them, go through our website, read our product information. And that is going to be determined by the product offering that we're placing in front of them that should be based upon the season that we have moving forward for us. In this instance, it's the holiday season. So what is your offer? What is your call to action? What's the reason for them to click and say, yes, put this in my cart because I want to either learn more or I'm ready to buy? So what is your offer? Is it by specific product line? Is it by specific offer? And what is the dollar value that's attached to this that is going to get you to your goal? All of these things are important for us to acknowledge well in advance, not off the fly, because all of the components for all 4 of us that are in the room today are important players in moving that value and that offer forward to the point of sale. What are the operational components that Michael will have to fulfill for us to move that forward? What's the time? What does it take to create that specific product? Andrea is absolutely going to want to know what is the flow through, what's the money from the top line that's going to hit the bottom line after expenses are taken through. And then Tamara really needs to understand the purpose of that offer so that she understands how to market that out to our buying community early enough and often enough for them to click through in the places we want them to go through. So what your offer is and the product that you want to sell is imperative to identify upfront.
Mike, I'm going to kick it over to you to talk a little bit about how do we even really begin to identify those offers, because we've been working all year round, right? So are the offers, really a compilation of things that have been successful throughout the course of the year?
You're reading my mind on a Monday morning, because it's like it's tied to that previous point, right? When we identify successes and opportunities. So it's also what worked well in the previous period, not just the earlier this year, but what worked in the previous period. what worked to nurture those leads from warm to hot to conversion, right? Now that you're in Q3, now that you're going to be in Q4, what the offers are and what we want to sell, there's a couple of things we want to look at there. We want to look at, well, where are our buyers now in their journey? I know Michelle will talk about that a lot. So that will also go into the mix of how am I going to, do my content going forward? How am I going to do not just my content, but my marketing going forward? Who exactly in that target market and where are they in their buying journey? That's going to be key to how I'm going to offer, what I'm going to use for my call to actions, how I'm going to actually move people through my funnel down to conversion. So I would definitely stay close to Michelle at this point in time, to understand, okay, what are we trying to push? What's the mix? What's the product mix? Because some of us have multiple products that we want to push, and it's an optimal mix we're looking for. So that has to be constantly changing. We're looking at what conversations we may need to have around our product or service during this holiday period that may need to change, be updated, so on and so forth. So lots to do in the operational area for sure.
I love that. I love that. So, Mike, you know what? You're still on the hot seat. I'm going to roll you right into point number 4. So, what are your holiday messaging and what are your call to actions? Because this is an important piece of the pie, right? And sometimes businesses miss the messaging piece. They miss the call to action piece, right? They may message, but they may not tell their customer what to do. So, really talk about the importance of the messaging for the holiday season and the call to actions.
Oh man, since the beginning of time with sales, it's been make the ask, right? That's always been the thing. Make the ask. Do not make the mistake of putting out content and not putting that ask at the end, right? So what's your holiday messaging and what are your CTAs? Are your CTAs buy now, shop now, or browse now? For example, 3 very different connotations, right? I may have a buy now that's tied to a time-bound strategy, right? So if you get this, like Michelle mentioned, Amazon did 2 earlier days, right, to their normal cycle of Amazon shopping. They said 2 earlier Prime days. So where are you really going with your call to actions? And then in your messaging, as I said, it depends on where your customer is. Are you now trying to get them further down the funnel? Are you looking at those customers that are focusing on, say, the abandoned carts, focusing on those clients if you're in a service industry that you've been nurturing, say, for the entire 3rd quarter, right? And you're now trying to set up business, not just for the end of the year, but into Q1 of 2023, right? So that's what we want to look at. We want to make sure that your messaging is in line and it also continues from the messaging that you had all year, right? You don't want to take a departure and suddenly have a totally new call to action that they've never seen, you've never asked your audience to do. So it should be in line with what's happened for the entire year so far.
Tamara, if you don't mind me saying something, in this, one of the things that Michael said really came and resonated with me, especially in what we're dealing with in the holiday season. I mentioned that we're getting marketing messages from everyone. So them moving through the know, like, trust factor in your business is important, that we do it fast and that you stay on message and where you were before, because you don't have time. The attention span that everyone has right now is about a nanosecond. It really takes, I think the thing is 0.007 seconds for someone to acknowledge something, make a decision, and move on to the next place. You have that chance to get them in, move them to the next space, or they come in and they just miss you right away. So having that familiar place that they've known because you've nurtured them through this cycle, getting those people to that place is really important. And we do have a whole lot of other people now that are searching for things that we never had before, that we need to bring from the top of the sales journey, the funnel, down to the bottom, but you have to move them through faster because remember, we're talking holiday season. We need to get them in, get them to a purchase place, and then get them to buy right away. And for those that are helping us to market, if they've stayed in one place too long or put something in the cart, the ability to act and say, okay, they've been in that cart let's measure that time and remarket to them and bring them back into our space. So your movements are a lot faster in this season than you typically would have in your prior selling seasons. So remember, movement is fast. You've got to act in this season.
Oh man, you guys are on fire today. I love it when stuff is popping on a Monday. This digital marketing, this whole kumbaya of marketing, sales, operations, and finance makes me feel so good. So as we move into point 5, right? What you want to do for your business is you definitely want to get to a place where you are identifying the strategies that worked for your business throughout the year, right? The whole idea here for Q4 is not to do anything over. It's to go back and look at what worked. We have this thing, we actually did a presentation a while ago called Looking Back at It, right? And it's not about the song and looking back at, you know what? It's about looking back at your numbers, looking back to understand what are the things that actually worked for your business so that you can utilize those things in Q4. The entire time you should be understanding what's working, what's not working, right? And what does that look like? It looks like tracking the data. It looks like saying, okay, cool, I did this activity, and what I saw from this was I collected more email addresses. What I saw from this was someone purchased from me. So you want to repeat those activities. Those strategies that you've put in place that worked are the things that you want to use for Q4. You do not have to reinvent the wheel for Q4. It's really important that you go back to what worked. If that's how your life is going to be a lot easier, go back to what worked for you and do that over and over and over. What you will find is that actually optimization is going to be the thing that actually takes you through longevity with your business and not just creating new things, right? Digital sometimes gives us that feeling of like, oh, I need to do something new all the time. I'm telling you, don't do something new all the time. Go back to the strategies that worked and repeat those strategies. That's where we need to be. So guys, what are you thinking about identifying the strategies that work and going back to utilize those strategies?
I want to jump in right there because, as you said, you're looking at what worked before. Operationally, let's make it clear. You're changing one thing at a time. You're optimizing at one point. So, Tamara, I'm really glad you raised that point because, yes, that's the feel that the holiday season has come around. It's time to revamp everything. And it's more a case of optimizing everything, continuing to look at how do you fine tune that message? How do you fine tune those call to actions? So I'm glad that you raised that point. I just had to jump in there and just give that 2 cents.
And might I also say, because it's holiday season doesn't mean that you go down the discount journey down to zero as well. Let us not fall for that mistake. Your value for your product or service is what you value it at. It's how you're placing it in front of the correct consumer for your business and making sure that you're meeting their buying triggers. Your call to actions meet the things that they want to say yes to, not a price point. If you lead with that price, the sale is always going to be about that price. And that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to move your product to the right people in the right fashion as quickly as possible in the product line that we want in the right market mix, but don't go down that discount road. That's not what we're here to talk about.
Go, Andrew.
Finance agrees. Finance agrees. Listen, the discount road is a dangerous road. The discount road leads you to potential losses if you don't manage discounts properly. I'm not saying never do discounts. I'm not anti-discounts. I am anti-discounts that are not done without a plan, right? The discount must lead to something, right? It cannot be a knee-jerk reaction because everybody else's price is a particular way and you're trying to meet that price. If everybody else's price is lower than yours, then you need to evaluate why that is, not just shove a discount into the market, right? Because as Michelle said, they're going to expect it next time. And we'll do it this year. We might probably make the target, yes, in terms of quantity, but then the sales revenue will be too low to sustain our business. Doing discounts like that as a knee-jerk reaction, it is not a sustainable thing from a finance perspective. Remember, the revenue line is the line that takes us over, right? The revenue line has to sustain the business. It has to pay for everything, right? That's the key thing that sometimes people forget. The revenue line has to pay for everything. It has to pay for the cost of the product itself. It has to pay for all the operations. And if you start touching that line without consulting finance, you could pass the break-even point and lead us down a pathway of losses. So finance agrees Do not do discounts in a haphazard manner and as a knee-jerk reaction to everybody else's prices falling in the holiday season. Please do not do that.
Andrea, I think this could be actually a whole show where we just talk about discounts, right? So, just off the top of your head, just give one quick strategy. If a business decided, hey, I wanted to do discounts, how would you recommend they think about discounting as a strategy in their business? Because I know it's something I've talked to my clients about it all the time, right? They lead with a discount for an email address. They lead with a discount for this. They lead with a discount for that. And it's like, well, what's really the value of that discount, and what are you getting in return, and what is the longevity of that potential customer that you've given that discount to? So if you could give a quick little idea of what would be a discount strategy that you would agree to, we'd love that.
Okay, so we say we have to have a plan, right? So if you're looking for a discount, the discount actually has to work both ways. It has to give back. The business has to get something out of it. Remember, giving a discount means I am giving up a piece of my revenue pie. But in exchange for giving it up, am I getting something that's going to take me to the next level? So am I giving a discount to a customer that is going to pay me early? So for example, early payment discounts. Those work pretty well, because by getting my money early, I'm giving up a little bit of the revenue pie, but I'm getting cash early. And remember, for our small and medium businesses, cash is king. So if I give up a little bit of my sale, it means I'm getting more cash in, right? I'm getting cash in. I probably don't have to dip into my overdraft because I'm getting the cash flow coming in. And I could meet my future obligations. I won't become a bad debt to other suppliers. So things like that, you could definitely see that there's a dual relationship with the discount. So if I give a discount to a long time customer to maybe buy more, for taking more of the product. So okay, you give a discount, but it's a discount to entitle them to buy more, right? That is something that I get something back out of it. So you want to make sure that there's always an inflow coming back to the business and not just going out, not just saying, hey, here's a discount on that one singular product that you bought for the one time that you came to my company and bought my stuff. What am I getting back from that? You must be able, let's find an inflow coming back into the business. That's my one key point.
And I have several because it's all about your sales strategy. There is a reason and a time for discounting, but very, 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 very important that you plan the strategy out for a reason, because when you start going down that road, then you're changing actually the client, your target audience that you're seeking for your business when you go down, and you're teaching them a behavior for your business. So there are a couple of different ways that I think about this if I'm going to walk down any portion of that discounting line. One, if you have product that is on the shelf and has been there, that has not moved, that you have indicated the life cycle is this, but it has now become this, and it is a seasonal item, then perhaps that is an opportunity for you to say, yes, I'm going to market this and put a discount and attach to that to move this product off my shelf so that I might move other product in and have space and availability for that. One. Two, if you have a client that you're looking to increase their buying power with you, their investment with your business, and they're bundling things together, they're looking to get a couple of things from your business, 2 or 3 or 4 different items, then you may want to consider at a certain stage of buy, then you will consider giving a specific discount, or not necessarily discount, free shipping, a value add to their buy for their additional purchase and investment in your company. Longevity, a longer term cycle of the contract. Let's say you have a service that you're offering, or they're buying a product for you and buying on an annual basis versus a 3 or 6 months. So they're showing their intent and to invest in your business. Therefore, you're going to give them either a price reduction or a free month on the opposite side for their commitment to your business. But it has to math. The math has to math. in order for you to do this. It is not willy-nilly. It is not a feel strategy. It is a dollar and cents. It has to math out for you to make this work. And there has to be a get for the give that you're providing out there. It is not a one-way road. It is two-way. And if it's not two-way, then you're not doing your strategy correctly.
And I will add that all those things that she discussed has to be discussed in a meeting with finance.
And marketing and operations.
And operations.
All 4 components are needed because all of us have a vested interest in what that bottom line number looks like. Because Tamara may come back to us and say, well, that's a great strategy, Michelle. This is what it's going to cost for us. This is what it looks like to market to that particular strategy. Michael will say, well, if this component comes through, then this is what it's going to take for me to fulfill this once that we click sold, we click buy. These are the next steps, and this is what it's going to take to escalate that. And this is its play now on that bottom line. So all of us have to be involved in that conversation.
And I was going to add, it also affects it. So where are we talking to people? So it actually looks like, is my discount on my ad, right? Just at that top level, or is my discount to my existing customers that are already in my database? So it's also that placement. So besides the number of ways that we're describing that you can give a discount or a value add, the other way to say a discount or value add is also that looks like from that digital perspective, as I said, are they in your email database already? Have they purchased something already before? Are you trying to, as Michelle would say, cross-sell and upsell as well? So where does that messaging go, as well as also going to tie into what your discount strategy is as well?
Oh my goodness. So discounts weren't even on our list. It was a sidebar conversation and it became like a whole point. So let's just consider that bonus point because it's really important, because many times we actually see that with businesses, right? The first thing they want to do is like, hey, I'm giving an email address. Let me give a discount, right? There's so many opportunities for discounts that they present because they think it's sometimes a move of desperation to get to the final number. And we don't want a discount to be a move of desperation for you, right? We want you to be looking at your strategy over the course of time to understand what's working and what's not working, and really make sure that you're in a space where you're optimizing, right? So that leads us to point number 6, focus on optimization and performance analysis. Now, what does that actually mean? Focus on optimization. Optimizing is the most important thing you will do in your digital marketing strategy ever. It is not starting something new. It is actually optimization, right? Optimizing means that you're going back to look at the things that worked and then continue to tweak them. You're looking to see, all right, cool, how can I optimize here? I was able to sell 10 of these. How can I optimize to sell 100 of these, right? Oh, this worked really well. How can I optimize to amplify, to get it in front of more people? How do I leverage this thing that is working for me? And that's where optimization comes in. But it also comes with performance analysis. You must consistently look at your numbers. You must consistently look at what's working, especially in Q4. We started off tracking towards a goal. So if we're tracking towards a goal, it's really important that you're looking at the numbers. So during Q4, what does that performance analysis look like? Is it something that's happening on a weekly basis? Is it bi-weekly? Consistently, you must be looking to see, did I get in more email addresses? Did they drive more traffic to my website? Did I get more follows? And what happened when those things happen? So you want to consistently look, because this is Q4. This is the time that you have to say, okay, what are the adjustments that I need to make? What are the optimizations that I need to make in order to really get to the space of achieving those business goals? So the biggest thing you will do in your digital marketing strategy ever is really get to a place of optimization. So I definitely I'm glad we're able to get to this point and highlight this point. But optimization, I think 90% of the times, I tell businesses this all the time, right? Optimization is where the digital marketing strategy is at. We start off first with all the nice, new, shiny stuff, but afterwards, we're just tweaking things. And year after year, you realize that, man, most of my strategy is an optimization strategy. You only add trending new things in between, but that's the place that you get to being really, really comfortable understanding your customer and then getting to that place of really having the ideal client for you. So I know I said a lot there, guys. What do you want to say about optimization?
This is where, operations comes in for sure, right? One of the things with optimization is we're going to look at every channel and platform at the basic level, the most basic level. Every platform and channel has an optimization list, has best practice. So we want to make sure that you're just doing that checklist. Do you need to update any profile bios? Do you need to update highlights or reels, etc.? But you're going by platform. Within email, you're going to look at, of course, your past performance, as Tamara said. It's always based on the numbers. What worked well, what got the highest open rates, what got the highest click-through rates within your emails. So definitely optimization ongoing, as you said, that you want to look at those platforms and make sure that you're just constantly optimizing for keywords, for hashtags, for everything. And, the numbers will tell you where to go. And they'll also show you where some opportunities probably lie.
I love the fourth quarter because when you're trying to really understand who your target audience is, the sample size in this area gets exponentially larger during holiday season. So you're able to really understand how many of these people are coming in. Is it really seasonal, or you're able to capture that information for that audience and really move them through the sales funnel, or if you need to park them or get rid of them. I love it because you really get to understand, because so many people are now shopping versus what you have throughout the year. Is your audience the correct audience? Is your message correct? The ratio of the way things are moving through, what you're buying patterns for your clients. Did I market early enough? Is that page, that landing page that I had to attract people to with that messaging, is it resonating? You're able to really test your messaging and your sales strategy and your pricing fairly early and often in holiday season, because there's so many people that are coming through. You're able to really find out quickly and optimize to specific keywords that you may not have really thought about before, because the sample size may not have been big enough for you to even pay attention to. But something starts standing out when the numbers start becoming much larger than they were before. Is that working? And how do I ride that wave and move that further? And it might not be online where you get that information. It may be something offline that really triggers. And I love Q4 for that reason. You get a lot of information.
Now I'll touch on the performance analysis part. So definitely, yes, from a finance perspective, this is where you want to sit and look at the performance analysis from a finance perspective. This is what we call the ratio analysis. So we're literally going in and checking to see where the margins are at. What is our cost? What is our ratio? What are our cost efficiency ratios? How are we operating? And why are we doing that? Is because we want to understand, with all the other things that we've discussed, with sales doing what sales is doing, operating doing what operating is doing, and marketing doing what marketing is doing, how are we performing? Is it making sense? Because at this point in time now, it's for finance to come back. If something is going off, finance will now have to come back to each one of you as a team and say, guys, all these things that you all are doing, while the ratios look good on your end. So and here's the interesting thing. Sales ratios could be looking really good in the sense of they could be hitting the quantities, and marketing could be saying, yeah, we're getting the traction and we're getting the visibility. But finance could actually come back and say, guys, I can't sustain all these things that you all are doing. It's really good in individual spaces, but from a finance perspective, we're drowning here. And this is where performance analysis comes in really important, because you will come back now and say, what? Clearly something is wrong. There's a disconnect, because individually, everybody's having a good time. Sales is hitting, marketing is hitting, but finance is saying, hey guys, I don't have the money for this, right? So at that point, finance could say, oh, we may need to tweak something from a finance strategy perspective. It may be the finance and finance CFO will have to say, hey, do I need to take a loan? Do I need to now approach management and say, guys, either we cut back, or I go forth and I get more money coming in by some sort of financing. So the performance analysis by a CFO in Q4 is really quite important, because it really sets the tone, one, for what has happened in the past, and being able to respond on how efficiently the business was run. And two, it actually sets you up for Q1 of the next year because you now have an idea of, hey, well, if this is what is happening now, what is going to happen in 4 months' time, right? So performance analysis by the CFO in Q4 is probably one of the most important tasks that a CFO has throughout the financial year.
When I tell you kumbaya, this is how you get to kumbaya, right? It's so important that we understand how to look at the business, right? We sometimes look in silos. We're always looking in silos. And again, it comes back to the point, this is why the four of us are together. We have finance, we have sales, we have operations, and we have marketing, because we don't want you to look at your business in a silo anymore. We want you to look at that big picture and get everyone to sign off on it. So things could be going really well from a marketing, from a sales, from an operations standpoint, and then there could still be problems from the financial side. So it's really important that if you are a small business and you're doing this by yourself, that you put on all those hats and you look at all the moving parts. If you are working with a team, it's important that you collaborate with them, let them understand what you're trying to accomplish and understand how it impacts all parts of the business so that you can be most efficient and most effective and truly translate your business over to digital in the best possible way to grow your revenue and really achieve your business goals, especially in this Q4 for 2022. All right, so we have another point, and Andrea, I'm going to kick this over to you. This is point number 7. It's probably the point that you would not expect it to be, but preparation for Q1 of 2023. Budgets, planning, strategic focus. I know Andrea and Michelle, you guys are going to tear this up. So Andrea, jump in and talk a little bit about point number 7.
Right. So at this stage, 75% of your year is gone. So you have 75%, the majority of experience of this year. At this point in time, you now sit and say, okay, what is going to happen in Q1? How do I start to prepare? Well, you start to prepare by doing your budgets, doing your planning, and understanding when we talk about that strategy. Did this strategy work for me? And it ties in well what we just spoke about, the performance analysis. And everybody's doing their ratios in their individual sections, finance as well. And you're saying, oh, okay, this worked or this did not work. And we're now saying, okay, let's start to put things in place. Because remember, Q1 is in January. And if I am in October, November, I have to know what is going to happen in January. I can't wait for January to then put something in place. So, and this is the thing about strategic focus. As a business owner, you actually have to think at least 6 months in advance as a small business owner. The corporate guys, and I always compare it to the corporate sector. When the corporate sector has a board meeting, they're not talking about what happened now. I mean, they'll get the results, they'll see where they're trending, but their conversation is always about where are we in our 5-year plan, or where is this going to take us to next year. They're always looking at least a year ahead. And why is that? Because what has happening now is already gone. You know, it's gone. So let's start to take the results of what is now and push it to the future and make the decision. Don't wait until the time comes to say, well, you know, this didn't work, so we can't do it. You know, we can't do it again. So Q4 is that critical time where you sit and analyze, well, I have the majority of the year in front of me, and it is logical that this is either this is going to occur, this is not going to occur. And what are the things that you need to consider? Well, you need to consider the factors that caused you to perform the way that you performed in this year. Are they going to exist next year? And I'm not gonna go into the factors because that's a whole other show. But what were the factors? And it could range from simply, you could start right within your business, the staff. Am I going to have the team that I had? Because the staff is the one that probably helped propel you anyway. So you start to look at, do I have staff? Will I have the outside, the economy? Of course, that's a whole other conversation, right? Will I have my customers? And here's the thing, and I analyze my customers. Did my number one customer from year before drop to number 3? And why is that? Is something happening with my customer? Is my customer not buying as much from me as they did 2 years ago? So then that means going forward, they're probably going to drop down to number 4. So it's you have to sit and look for all those factors and say, okay, what occurred here? Is it going to occur next year? And are new factors going to come into play that I probably wild card that I probably have not experienced before, right? So this is the time where you sit and you say, you start to plan and you start to say, well, what are these factors? And definitely by all now, we're in the middle of October. You should have a very clear idea, at least what your Q1 is going to look like, right? At least Q1, you should reach as far. That's where you should reach with your planning. Oh God, I said a lot.
Let me tell you, and I'm here for all of it, Andrea. I'm here for all of it because in the way, one of the things that I said from the onset is we're here to help you to be consistent, sustainable, and here for the long term. For longevity, we need you to be around, and that brings in the planning component of this, to have a not just a short term, a 30, 60, and 90, but with your 1 year, your 3 year, your 5 year plan. While those might not be sketched out in great, like serious minutia detail, you have a strong idea of where you want to go. So as we're looking at this, we might be talking Q4 and moving into Q1, but essentially I would encourage having a rolling 13th month. Once we finish a month, what were the plans and strategies that worked well across the board in your mix of business? What products served you well? What was the target audience that worked really well for you that we're moving forward, so that you can plant that information in that same month for next year, have that information scribed and ready to go, so that you understand what are the measures that need to be pulled into place to make that a successful month for you in the future. Therefore, when we're looking to plan for a specific quarter, 2-quarter strategy, you've got it planted already. The core of what you need is already done and in front of you. And it's now, how do I pull the trigger and make those things happen? You're not doing things last minute. You are having sound conversation between the entire group of people that need to be there. Once that sale is made, then Michael and his team can take that and move that forward operationally to get that done in the right fashion and bring that money down to the bottom line. So we're always thinking farther out. We might be dealing with the people in front of us, but here we've already planned for that success far in advance because we've made that plan early enough. We can't be consistent, sustainable, or here for the long haul if we're only thinking short term.
Just right. So, and what I hear when we look at Q1, looking at next year, is digital. The one thing with digital is that it's constantly changing. Tools that we're using, they're constantly changing, they're constantly upgrading. So I've got to do some forward planning. How am I going to use a new tool? Am I going to change the way I'm using a tool? How am I going to get up to speed with any new features that they have? So that's something that you may have bypassed this year, had no need for it. For example, say on one platform on email, they've added a new feature within the system, and you've said, okay, my strategy is working this year. No need to change it, but definitely next year I want to look at it. That's going to impact, that training time, that uptake time. And that's a constant in digital. So you want to constantly look at those platforms, constantly look at those channels, the tools you're using, and say, all right, given my new strategy or my strategy going into the new year, what has really performed for me? So this is where, Andre will like that, because I'm like, well, what return have I gotten on these tools? Which ones can I switch out? Which ones can I amalgamate? Because that's a constant change, and that happens in digital that we have to be aware of.
Michael, I love when you use new words. You know that in my mind, I'm like amalgamate. So I think I actually mouthed it when you said it. I was like, Michael is my wordsmith. Michael, when you say amalgamate, please define the word, because we want to break this down in the simplest terms, because I will pull out my dictionary.
So we've looked at tools like, let's say you're looking at your email platform, right? And then you have a separate platform for social media content. but you may look at one solution that covers both. And a lot of CRM solutions now, not endorsing one or the other, but say, for example, HubSpot is one of those solutions that amalgamates a lot of different solutions. So, but it requires a strategic approach, as we've been talking about. What's most important for me? Is it the customer relationship management, or is it work management? On the work management platforms, they've extended as well. So a number of different ways that you can use them. And now you can use them again to join or put together a lot of different business activities push them through one platform, which is always easier. And we like when we can, the less that we have to touch base with, so that we're not going from one channel to the next, one platform to the next. That's what we mean when we say amalgamate. We mean just bringing it together under one platform, a range of digital activities. So it could be email, website development, landing pages, social media content scheduling. And what are the tools? And some of these tools work well together. Some of them don't play well together. Some of them played well together, now don't. So you've got to keep on top of that. And that's what we mean when we say amalgamate. And we had a whole company from Trinidad. We do amalgamate it, right?
That's exactly how you amalgamate. So I'm like, I can't wait to amalgamate later on. I'm going to use this word all day today, actually. So as we amalgamate. Anyway, okay, great. So guys, this was awesome. So of course we have these 7 points compiled for you. I'm going to share my screen. As you know, I go through the process of sharing my screen through figuring out what window, what tab. It's always fun times, but we have made sure that we pull this together so you have a quick recap, right? So here is exactly what you need to do for the holiday season. Number one, you need to understand how you're tracking towards your 2022 business goal. And Andrea talked a lot about that and what you need to do, what you need to look back at. You need to understand where you are. Understand that it's not a linear process, that you're just moving 25% of your goal every quarter. So understanding where you are, understanding some of the changes that you need to make. Do you need to adjust your goal? Do you need to have a stretch goal? Really make sure that you know where you are for Q4. Identify what works, right? Identify the successes and the opportunities. What are the things that have been working for you? What are some of the successes you've had, whether it's by product? What are some of the new opportunities? Michelle talked about, could there be an opportunity if you sell to women to sell to men, because they're looking to buy gifts for women potentially this year, or whoever's looking to buy gifts for whoever, what other group could you really bring into the fold for Q4? Also understanding, what are your offers? What do you want to sell for Q4? What has worked really well for you? What packages, what bundles, what do you want to pull together? You want to also look at your holiday messaging and your call to actions. It's important to tell people what to do. Your CTA is your call to action. It is such a critical part of your messaging. And sometimes we miss that. We may give the message, but we may not tell folks what to do, right? Michael talked about that. Is it browse now? Is it buy now? Is it learn more? You want to understand this call to action that works best for your business, because again, you've been doing this all throughout the year. So you want to look back at those numbers and understand that. Then you want to identify the digital marketing strategies that worked well and utilize them. Get rid of the stuff that doesn't work anymore, right? Just don't be in a space to be in this space. I know we feel a lot of pressure to be in all the digital marketing spaces, but look at the spaces that work for you, where your strategies are working, where you're driving more traffic to your website. What's that channel? What's driving the bottom line revenue? Because that's what this is about. We want to understand how you're tracking towards your business goal for 2022. This is Q4. Only use the things that worked for you. Focus on optimization. You can spend a lot of time doing new stuff. Every day on social media, there's something new that they want you to do. There's some new website, there's some new platform, but understand what works and optimize and amplify it. Get in front of more people. 9 times out of 10 times with businesses, what's happening is they're just not visible enough, right? So get into that visibility, optimize, get in front of more people, get the things that work in front of more of your target audience, and look at your performance. Understand the analysis, look at the numbers, spend time looking at the numbers. If you're tracking towards a goal, it's important that you're looking at the numbers. How many email addresses are you collecting? How do those email addresses connect to revenue, right? How many people are coming to your website? How does that connect to revenue? Understand the performance analysis, and then start preparation for Q1. Understand what's happening for next year. We want you looking forward. It's important that you look forward, right? We need to be looking 6 months, a year in advance. Michelle talked about a 13-month rolling plan. That's a great idea, something you may really want to implement for yourself. And the other sidebar that we threw in here was all about discounting. Discounting, you must have a strategy for discounting. Don't just discount to discount. Make sure you have a clear strategy and make sure it works for your business. The other thing we want you to do is make sure that you're having these conversations with the dream team. You want to make sure that you're talking to finance. You want to make sure that you're talking to sales. You want to make sure you're talking to operations. And you also want to make sure that you're talking to marketing. It's important that you talk to all these people within your business. And if you are all these people within your business, it's okay. Put your hats on, think about it from that standpoint. Make sure you understand how it impacts the other parts of your business. Here we are at Your Business in Digital, talking to you about how you translate all the things that you do really well offline into digital. And here today, we're talking about the holiday season and all the things that you really need to do for the holiday season in order to achieve your business goals. So guys, this has been a lot, but it's been so good. I'm always excited to be here with you. You guys are such a wealth of information, and I love that we're bringing this information to the people. So Michelle, I'm going to kick it over to you to introduce yourself and tell the people who you are, and then we know the drill. Go for it.
Good Monday again, everyone. Thank you for joining us. For me, bright and early. It's just bordering on 5 a.m. here out in Southern California. But thank you for joining us. I am with Lannett Digital Consulting. I am here to help you to either develop or execute your sales and pricing strategies so that you're here in a consistent, sustainable manner to be here for the long haul. We want you around for the very long legacy to pass on to your people. Please join us on Wednesday. We will be here to help you with more digital information, and go back and listen. There's a lot of good information that's on our prior shows, but thank you for joining us today.
And I am Andrea Raghu, your virtual CFO for your business. I help you navigate your financial journey, and I help you make better financial decisions for your business. Join us on Wednesday as we continue to talk about your business in digital, and we continue to kumbaya and show you how everything can come together. So join us on Wednesday, and thank you for joining us today.
And I'm Michael Wilshire, Director of Business Development and Sales. We are always here to make sure that you're able to effectively drive revenue for your business through digital and that you're able to measure the impact of your efforts. Join us Wednesday, watch the replays, and get your business moving forward.
Oh man, guys, this is so awesome. I love the kumbaya. I can't wait till we have our first fight. We definitely need to have it on screen because I'm sure there are things that we sometimes will not agree on. So our first fight is definitely going to be on this Show Your Business in Digital. But for right now, we are kumbaya. And why we're kumbaya? Because we understand the importance of having all these players together. This is really, truly how you move your business forward. So join us every Monday. Join us every Wednesday. We're broadcasting across Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Clubhouse. And of course, we're looking at other places to start broadcasting because we know that this message is really important. When have you ever seen finance, sales, marketing, and operations in a kumbaya situation, having a conversation that can actually help you move your business forward? This is what we do here at Your Business in Digital. So tell everyone about us. Have a great day. We'll see you on Wednesday. Take care. Bye.